Good morning, friends, and welcome. Let's start our class today with a prayer together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, Guru Preceptors, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Laidi Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswarji, beloved Guru Deva, Paramhansa Yogananda Ji, saints of all religions, we bow at thy feet. We ask thy blessings on our satsang today. Help us to speak the truth at all times and be ever in attunement with thee. We are thine, be thou ours. Om Shanti Shanti. We have a song sung by Swami Kriyanandaji, Truth Can Never Die, and then an excerpt from a talk by Swamiji, a wonderful talk on this topic of truth. Welcome again, friends.
Some men call it progress, down with those who doubt. To join the causes others join, and shout when others shout. Come, you're a man, no passive stone. Stand up and call your soul your own. Go on alone, go on alone. Banish weakness, go on alone. Go on alone, go on alone. Don't look back, just go on alone. Some men call it freedom, new democracy. To shun the heights and cloud the depths and court security. Come, you're a man, no passive stone. Stand up and call your soul your own. Go on alone, go on alone. Banish weakness, go on alone. Go on alone, go on alone. Don't look back, just go on alone. Cowards see but pride in singularity. Oh, never mind if men are wrong, so long as they agree. Come, you're a man, no passive stone. Stand up and call your soul your own. Go on alone, go on alone. Banish weakness, go on alone. Go on alone, go on alone. Don't look back, just go on alone. Claim the power within you, error to defy. The world may change or disappear, but truth can never die. Come, you're a man, no passive stone. Stand up and call your soul your own. Go on alone, go on alone. Banish weakness, go on alone. Go on alone, go on alone. Don't look back, just go on alone.
Even when you have a job, try to make money. I should perhaps not put it negatively. Make money. You can still do it for God. So those who work in this world, can you think of their work as useful work? I remember when my father gave me some money to put into stock market, and he had me go to his stockbroker, and the stockbroker tried to get me to invest in things that would make more money, like cigarettes. I said, I'm not going to give him money to that. I don't believe in smoking. Well, I think that what you should always try to do, and I have done this very rigidly in my life, I've always tried to do what was dharmic. I know that unfortunately, many swamis I know in India have taken shortcuts that way. to get what they called a spiritual work moving. I have not done so. I've always been very strict about that. Once in the beginning years of Ananda, when I was earning all the money to start Ananda, there was a young man who came to me and he said, well, I've inherited a certain amount of money and I would like your advice. Should I join Ananda, in which case I can give this money to Ananda, or should I go to India? And I asked him how much it was, not because I wanted to know how much I could get out of him, but to see if he had the money to go to India for a period of time. And he told me it was $200,000. Well, that in those days, back in 1969 or so, that was about $1 million today. That was a very lot of money. I wasn't even tempted. I said, I think you should go to India. And one reason I said that was because I thought, had he really wanted to join Ananda, he wouldn't have asked the question. So I thought you should go to India. But I have always, we many times could have failed, but I have always said no. First thing, there's a saying in India, yata dharmas tata jaya. Where there is right action, there is victory. And I've adhered very strongly to that. In your work, don't cut corners. Realize that in the end, God is the one you're serving. So that if you're in business, don't tell untruths, don't twist the truth, don't put people ahead of things. I think that these companies that are firing people because they're losing money, I think what they should do is give everybody less money so they can all stay. At least up to a point, I think that would be a much more honorable thing than just suddenly somebody is told that he's out on his ear. Many ways I could elaborate on that question, but if you adhere to these principles, you'll be serving God.
Good morning again, everyone. I'd like to start the reading from this great book, Conversations with Yogananda Ji. These are Swamiji's words. In a story connected with vows, one of the younger monks pleaded with the master to give him vows of brahmacharya, renunciation. Several others joined for the brief ceremony. The master was clearly not happy about it. You must take this vow very seriously, he said. Remember, God is here. He is listening to you. Some of you may fall. When you break this vow, because you took it here today, all the forces will be upon you. The responsibility is yours, not mine. Don't take this event lightly. Please heed what I say. The master saw those vows, in other words, as more than a mere affirmation, spoken before him and administered by him. They had the power either to uplift or to destroy. Destroy not in an eternal sense, to be sure, but in the sense of attracting greater suffering to the failed disciple. One thinks about that young man. Master had repeated his vows more than once, knowing that he would break them. Was it in reaffirmation of vows that he already taken earlier? Or was the master trying to hold the disciple to a soul commitment, hoping that it would be reawakened years later? Never, however, will God turn his back on the devotee so long as he keeps trying. As often as you fail, the master used to say, get up and try again. God will never let you down, so long as you don't let him down, and so long as you make the effort. What he saw in some of those monks, I think, was that they would fail in their intention. He wanted to spare them the suffering that would be consequent on that failure. This topic today is very important. These are very strong words from Master. We take vows of Kriya, we take vows of discipleship. We say we're going to meditate every day. We say we're going to serve, or a variety of promises, really, that we make to God and gurus on the path. In our teachings, we follow truthfulness. We say we follow truthfulness. We study it, we talk about it, we may go to classes about it, but we have to start living every day this principle of truthfulness. To be truthfulness, as we start to really practice that, it clears our consciousness. It uplifts us. It clears our karma. And it attunes us to God. It attunes us to the gurus. When we live in untruthfulness, we become we have a lower consciousness. I see people's eyes shifting. The voice becomes kind of different. Their aura, not that I can't see auras, but you can feel there's a heavier energy there with the person who lives in untruthfulness. And so we have to live by the principles that we're talking about and studying and make it a reality in our lives. And these are some of the ways that untruthfulness manifests. There are many ways. These are ways that at least I've seen. One is stretching the truth. Now, some of these may seem a little funny or fun or whatever, but at a certain point, they're not fun anymore. But stretching the truth means saying things that, it's exaggerated, or there were this many people there when there was half the group there, half the number of people. Or I love the one here in India I've heard over and over about time. The time is, I'll be there in 2 minutes, or 5 minutes, I'll be there, or all of these things that just, it turns into long periods of time. And that's not helpful. Or people will say, I'm just coming, or I'm in the elevator, or I'm at the stoplight, or I'm in front of your house, and they're not there. And it's obvious that they're not there. This is not a good thing to get into. Be clear, be honest. I remember I was in a car with someone here in India, and we were trying to get to someone's house. It was so much traffic. It was obvious it was going to take at least another half an hour. The person said, no, 5 minutes will be there. And I looked at her, I said, we're not going to get there in 5 minutes. It's obvious. Why would you say such a thing? Oh, it's just easier to say. But it's not the truth. And the other day I was in a store here. I'm in Pune now, where I'm living at this point. And as I was trying to buy something in the store, some namkeen that's baked instead of fried. Now it may not even exist. How do I know? But anyway, I asked the storekeeper, and he took me around the store, and he said, yes, ma'am, this one, and then this one, and then so I did have my glasses with me, so I couldn't read what was in the contents of the package. So then one of my friends came, who was parking the car, and he read the back of the package, and he said, we're at the counter buying. I already bought it. And the fellow, my friend, says, no, this says it has vegetable oil, and it's fried in vegetable oil. And the man says, no, it's not in the other packet. No, this is fried in vegetable oil. No. Ajkal, these days, what happens is they fry it, then they have a technique of extracting the oil out. And I just said, that's ridiculous. I mean, I just can't believe it that somebody would even think you're dumb enough to believe something like that. You fry it, then you just somehow the oil, and then it's non-fried. And so I've seen this many times where people will make something up. And here's another one, trying to impress others. I've heard this a lot. I've been places where there's a conversation, people are saying certain things, and then I think people, just to jump in on the conversation, I haven't quite figured this one out, but then they add something that's not true. And they don't even know it, but they add it to the conversation. And I'll go, no, that doesn't seem right or true. Then lo and behold, I'll go look it up, and it's not true at all. It's not necessary. Just be quiet if you don't have anything to add. You don't have to add something that you don't know. And I think it's the person doesn't know, but they want to act like they know something and they don't know. So just leave it if you don't know. And then another one is that person has absolutely no intention of doing the particular thing, but they say, this is one of my favorites, I will definitely, it's just, it never happens. I will definitely be there. I will definitely do it. You can definitely count on me. And now when I hear that word definitely, it worries me because I don't see that happening. And Swamiji told a story of a man who, this was in the 50s, I believe it was, when Swamiji was here then, and he was going to give a talk. I'm not sure exactly where it was, but anyway, Swamiji was needing to where he needed a dhoti. So he was at a friend's house and he said, do you have one? The friend said, yes, yes, yes. And so he gave it to him. And there was another man at the house who says, Swamiji said, well, I'll be giving a talk. That's why I'm here. And, I need this. And the man said, oh, I will definitely be there. And so then Swamiji left, or the man left, I don't know which, but Swamiji, he quotes this in one of his books. He says, now the man, he didn't know me for one. Then he didn't know where the talk was going to be. He didn't know when the talk was going to be. He didn't know the time. He knew nothing, but he was definitely going to be there. And lo and behold, he wasn't there. And so this is another one I found that just is, it's unnecessary. Just don't say definitely. I'll try to be there. I hope to be there. If I can't come, I'll be there, but definitely I would hold off on that word. And another one is blatant fabrications, which is really, we have to work on these things. I've sat in front of people who just lied. And straight face, just straight out lie, which at the time I thought, now that's not true, but I didn't want to say. So I found out that it definitely wasn't true, but the person didn't ever say anything. They knew they were lying. And Swamiji has written this yogic principles, material success through yogic principles. It's worth reading. It's because he wrote it for a man who Swamiji met this man in the hospital when Swamiji was recovering. And the man said he has to cut corners. The school, his child, he has to get enough money for his child to go to school and on. He has to cut corners. And Swamiji wrote that in India, particularly thinking of all the things that people make up, or they're definitely going to do it, or they cut the corners, or what else, as he says, to be able to live more in truth. And so anyway, another one I saw, these things are pretty shocking. Now that was a devotee. There's no need, absolutely, and it's wrong. It's creating more and more karma in your life, and you wonder, how come nobody listens to me? Well, you don't have a voice anymore. How come no one follows what I'm saying? Because you don't have strength. You don't have power in your words anymore, because your words are just like, you've lost your power and your strength because of one thing after another that was untrue. One time I was getting something, I was with a friend in a mall here in Pune, and I was buying some just very small item in a store. So I went to the store. It was when the stores first opened, and maybe a little bit after. And so I went in with my friend and I got what I needed, and nobody was there to, pay. So the person from next door, the store next door, she came over. I mean, she saw us and she came, and so then she said, oh, you want to get some other things? I said, no, this is all I need. And she said, well, look around a little bit more. I said, I don't really need to look around. That's what I came for. I said, where's the person who's running the store? And she says, oh, she's coming. And I said, okay, she's coming. I thought she was coming like in a moment or something. And so she said, well, look around more. So I looked around, we looked around another 10 minutes. And I said to my friend, let's come back because the person's not here. And so the lady from the store next door, she looked at us and she said, no, she's come. And I looked down the hall, I looked down the other way. I said, she's come, she's come. And the lady went to this cash register, not the one who's come, but the other one, and she's ringing it up and she's, okay, this is how much you want to pay, the lady from the store next door. And I said, okay, but where's the lady? And she said, oh, she's come. I saw her. She's come. She never came. I mean, when we were there, she didn't come. We walked up and down. I mean, I looked around, I didn't see the lady anywhere. Why? Why? To make a sale of 500 rupees or something? It's just like, gosh, that was just, I felt so badly for her like that. And finally, there was a man who lived with us in Gurgaon. And, I don't know what his past was like, but as he was living in the ashram, we were like, live by truth. So there was an opportunity for him to get a raise at his job. And so he told me, and he said, but I got to say that I did this or that or whatever the backstory was. I said, don't say that. Just tell the truth. Go in there and tell them. And so he said, oh yeah, he didn't want to do it. He said, oh, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to. So he goes in, and then another guy, they were both up. One of them would get a promotion, not both, one of them. Whoever had made the certain amount at their other job or something, I don't remember exactly. So lo and behold, our guy tells the truth. And the other guy, who one of them was going to get promoted, not both, the other guy lies. And the other guy gets the raise and the promotion. And so our guy, Ananda guy, comes home and he's upset. And he says, see, I told you it doesn't work. These principles don't work. And I should have lied. And I said, do you really think that's the end of that story? And he was just upset, So some months go by, and what happens? The guy who lied gets fired. Our guy gets promotion, Ananda guy gets promoted, and he gets a raise. And he comes home, he says, Dhyana ji, I don't know what happened, but I said, I know what happened. You told the truth. And the other guy lied. Try to live by that. And so anyway, these are some examples. So what do we do? One, try to change, make it directional. If your life is like that, at least head in the direction that I want to be honest. I want to get rid of telling untruths. Try to change that. It becomes habitual. Then that's your whole life. And it's not helpful, as Swamiji is saying. I remember when I first came to Ananda, I wasn't wanting people to know anything about me. What did it matter? It just wasn't a big deal. But I was shocked by how honest people were, about everything. And I remember being at a meeting once. I wasn't dishonest, but I still didn't want people to know, where I was going and all that. I was living in Ananda ashram. And I remember one evening there was a meeting, a house meeting. And I said, oh, we were at the dinner table, I think. I said, oh, I can't come because I'm going out. And I had just kind of gotten into the ashram scene, living at the center, and everybody just all eyes on you, and where are you and what are you doing? And you didn't come to meditation, and and it was like a really upfront existence. So I said, I can't come because, and they said, well, why? Where are you going? And I said, I don't want to tell people. They said, well, they said, why? What's the harm in telling us? And so then one person said, Dhyana, the reason we're asking is we love you. And what if something happens? Nobody knows where you are. And so I told them, it wasn't a big deal. I'm going to the mall for a coffee or something, whatever it was. But the thing is, it doesn't pay to just keep living a hidden life. Nobody knows, especially if you're trying to live by truth and trying to find God and on this path. So catch yourself. Another thing is in meditation, after meditation, whatever you've done that's not been right, offer it to God. Say, I don't want to live like this. Help me to get out of this. I offer this karma up so that I can get out of it, and help me make the situation happen that I can live more by truth. And finally, clean up the karma if you can. Go back to the person. Now, takes courage. But I remember someone came to me and said, Dhyana, I want to tell you, that wasn't completely honest what I said the other day. Now I want to set the record straight. This is what really happened. And I so appreciated that. It was just the right thing to do. And so also, finally, you can come up with go back to the person that it wasn't so true or this or that or whatever, and clean up the karma. Otherwise, it's more and more karma, and you wonder, how come I'm so weak? How come I can't meditate? How come my mind is unclear? How come nobody listens to me? How come I don't get a better salary? How come I don't have a good job? How come my relationships are bad? How come people don't want me as a friend? How come? You have to live a life of truth. So I'd like to end with this video clip of Swamiji, very short, just over a minute. Then we'll have questions and answers.
Always tell the truth. You will develop Vach Siddhi, as they call it. You will develop the power of materializing your words. That if you say such a thing has to be and will be, it has to be because you said it. But this is the kind of thing you must remember. When you are mixing with wise people, saintly people, masters, don't play around with the truth. They won't say anything, but you'll find that for good or for evil, your words will mean a lot.
Nitendra?
Yes, yes, Dhyanaji, we have a few questions. The first one, Dhyanaji, is at times we ourselves do not know what could be right or what would be a dharmic choice. So, what should we do in such situations and how can we find what is right for us?
Why do we have centers? Why do we have teachers in Ananda? Why do we have acharyas? Why do we give kriya? Why do we do satsangs? Why do we have online courses? Why do we have home study? Why? So that we can have other guru bhais around us, have people mirroring you, have people you can talk to, you can discuss things, or you can ask your questions. I find when it's, oh, I'll tell no one about this, that's soon, I mean, it's slippery and then you fall. You have to be more open with people who you trust and respect. And I find that the people who are, they make the most progress. The people who have a hidden life, the whole life is hidden. God sees everything. Guru sees everything. And in the final analysis, you have to stand before them. And so it's better to clean it up now. And I have found, as I said before, maybe last week, that at a certain point, Divine Mother opens the curtain and she shows everybody, this is what you've been doing. So you can't hide, you can't get away from it. You can't run from your karma. And so take the time and work it out and ask your teachers, what would you do? How can I get out of this? Same with bad habits. Don't just keep going on with the bad habits. It's not good. And certainly is a block in your spiritual life.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. On a weekday, talking about truth, that too while going to work, is scaring a few people. So, there are a couple of questions, both talking about the fact that if we know that being honest might spoil our work, or being truthful can be hurtful to people and against diplomacy, especially in work situations. So in that case, is it better to offer it to God or still be following the truth?
It'll still be what?
Should we still be following the truth?
I would definitely follow the truth, but there's truth and there's fact. Like Swamiji said, if you go to the hospital and you see your friend, you don't say you look terrible, are you near death? You say, oh, you could look better, something like that. I've seen you look better. Truth is beneficial. But I mean, I think people need to be upfront and meditate on it, I would say offer it to God first. And then what you feel inside. I don't work in an Indian corporation. I've worked in American ones. And there's a level of truthfulness, but there's also a level of dishonesty. And I remember Swamiji saying to someone at a certain point who had the kind of job everybody was dishonest. He said, you might want to look for another job. So you have to decide if you want to be in that environment, you want to be with people like that just to get a big salary. You have to deal with the karma. There's individual karma, there's group karma. The karma of that corporation is also your own karma. So you have to decide. We can't make the decisions for everybody, and when I worked in a corporation, I did not lie. My boss did not lie. That probably was, I think I would have rather moved on to another position.
Just one last question, Dhyanaji. So does being truthful and honest in our real world help in our spiritual progress as well?
Definitely. I mean, how are you going to meditate if you're lying every day? Your thoughts are going like this. How are you going to meditate? Are you going to sit in front of the altar when there's this big mountain of karma of all the lies you told? Does that make sense? I mean, it doesn't. You have to be able to have a pure heart. Blessed are the pure in heart. They shall see God. And so, you have to clean up. You can't just say, God will take me no matter what. You have to help yourself. And I find that if I'm talking to people, and some people, here's the point, you can be magnetic, but harm people. And you can be magnetic. We're talking about spiritual magnetism. Some people have it, some people don't. And the people typically have it, live a clean life. Of course, they do the practices and all, but you can do the practices and then you're lying all day and have the bad attitudes. And it's like pushing from both sides of a door. You never get anywhere. You meditate, then and then you wonder, how come I'm not making spiritual progress? And honestly, you can see it on a person's face. Some people have brightness, some people are just kind of gray, their eyes are not bright, they're shifty, they're blinking all the time, they're nervous because you're hiding. I mean, let's face it, your voice, this isn't the devotee's voice. And I heard something of Swamiji recently where he said the voice of a person on the spiritual path, the voice gets sweeter and sweeter. And of course, from chanting, but also from meditating and from telling the truth, let's face it, from living the teachings. And he said, when I hear a person's voice that doesn't sound good, he said, I worry about their spiritual practices and their spiritual life. So it affects you in every way. It's not just that you can't hide. I think that's the bottom line. You can try to store it in a cabinet and close the door with a lock, but sooner or later, all that has to come out. And it's going to come out in your spiritual life and in your daily life. So better to just start today. Just say, no, I'm not going to go there. And it can be directional, but some people, the direction The direction is lifetimes, you know, you don't want to be lifetimes. Maybe in my 5,000th lifetime, I'll get honest. Try today. And I was so appreciative when that person came to me and apologized and said, Dhyanaji, I'm sorry, this was wrong. How many people have the courage to do that? Try to have that kind of courage. And other people say, yeah, when I'm at the center, I don't lie. I mean, that's not saying a whole lot. Okay, God bless you all. Thank you, Natindra. Bye-bye.